Show, and today is a Q&A Weekends episode where we answer your question right here on the show. If you have a question you want to ask, just email us over at support@businessrepublic.net, or you can send me a tweet on Twitter. BizRepublic is my handle, BizRepublic. As always, I'm your host, your coach, your teacher, Omar Zenhom. I'm also the co-founder of the $100 MBA, a complete business training and community online. And today's question comes from Bill, and Bill asks, how do you come up with a new lesson every day? I'm always looking for ways to come up with new topics for my content. With somebody who's produced over 500 episodes for their podcast, how do you guys do it? Thanks for the question, Bill, and I will reveal the secrets. No, I will tell you exactly how we come up with all our lesson topics and how I do it so I'm not stressed out. And I always know exactly what I need to do when I get on the mic. Can't wait to answer this question in full in today's episode, so let's get down to business. Today's episode of the $100 MBA Show is sponsored by Acuity Scheduling. Give them a try for free. They're the best scheduling app that we've seen, the best scheduling software we've seen, and that's why we use them exclusively. If you have a client-based business, you need an easy way for them to book you for your time. And even if you don't have a client-based business, there are lots of people that want your time to talk to you, to just get to know you on Skype. And they want to make sure they can book a time when you're available. Give it a try over at acuityscheduling.com/MBA. Again, that's a 45-day free trial at Acuity Scheduling at acuityscheduling.com/MBA. So Bill asks, how do we come up with a new lesson every day? He's talking about content ideas. How do we come up with the content ideas? I know many people out there are thinking, hey, I got to publish a blog post once a week. When I get to the time to write a blog post, I don't know what to write about. I get writer's block. What are the topics I want to explore? And they sometimes procrastinate. And sometimes they don't even get the post published because they just get stuck at the idea phase. A lot of pressure there. I understand. Hey, like Bill says, we've recorded over 500 episodes. I mean, today is episode 574. So we have to have a strategy when it comes to topics and ideas. And that goes for a podcast, a video show, a blog, whatever kind of content you're creating. So what I like to do is a few things I want to share with you. When I come to plan out the show, I don't actually plan one show at a time. I like to separate the planning from the doing, from the actual recording of the show. So I'll have a planning session. So that means I'll sit down and open up my production schedule, which is my spreadsheet on Google Drive, and I will plan out the topics for the next 50 episodes. 50 is a good number because it's about a little over a month and a half. And it allows me to make it cohesive and be able to go out just enough in the future where I know where I'm going, but at the same time, it's not too far out, so I'm not completely out of touch with what I want to cover. And I literally spend a few hours filling out my spreadsheet. Now, we're a lesson-based show, so we want to make sure all our lessons are cohesive and they work in a order that it makes sense. You know, we like to have lessons that build upon each other. So I see this as like a curriculum, sort of like how a teacher would deliver or plan out the curriculum for the year of the school year, right? You know, most schools, the teacher's not planning out the curriculum. You know, they have teams of people doing that. I know that because this is what I was doing for over a decade. But the point here is that you know, you want to plan out what you're going to be doing before you actually do it. So if you're writing blog posts once a week, you want to sit down and maybe plan out at least the topics. What are the topics you want to cover? And just do a brain dump on a spreadsheet. And you may want to do it maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks ahead. Hey, why don't do it 3 months ahead? So you have, 12 different topics all listed ready to go. Now, what this does is that it allows you to be creative and just focus on, hey, what are some things I want to address? What are some things I want to teach? What are some things I want to share with my audience? Just focus on that, list those things. And when it's time to actually write the actual article, when it's, that day of the week where you have to write your blog post or record your podcast or do your video, you just go to the spreadsheet and say, hey, what am I going to be writing about or recording about? You go to the topic and you can flesh it out. You can do some bullet points if you want. You can do the bullet points beforehand. But this makes it a whole lot easier. You don't come to the day where it's time for you to actually produce and you get stuck because you don't know what you're going to be producing. You have no direction. So do the planning ahead of time. And that's what we do on the show. We plan all our lessons ahead of time. So when I'm on the mic, like right now, I already know the topic. I know exactly what I'm going to be covering. I have it all fleshed out. I have it all outlined. Now, you don't have to go through all that detail if you don't want to, but at the very least, have the topic. What's the topic of the actual piece of content that you want to cover, and get that down weeks in advance. And batch it. Like I'm saying, Get many weeks in a row. Get them all done, all lined up, so you have those topics ready to go and they're there for you when you need them. And don't forget to do that, to re-up that before that list is up. So say, for example, you've planned for 8 weeks of blog posts, so 8 blog post titles. When you get to week 5, it's time for you to re-up it again. You don't want to be in the same predicament as you did before. Add another 8 weeks to the existing 8 weeks at that point. The point here is that the ideas are easy when it's time for you to just sit down and just say, hey, what are all the areas I want to talk about in the next few months? That's a lot easier than saying, what is one thing I want to write about right now? A lot of pressure there. And this is just how our minds work. By asking yourself the question, what are the areas that interest me? What are some things I want to share with my audience? Just in general, you get into more of a creative mind space. And there's no pressure saying, hey, I got to write about this immediately after I write down this topic. So it removes the pressure of actually implementing the work at the time of the idea phase. I hope that makes sense. And by the way, big productions do this. If you watch any TV series, let's say, for example, one show that we were watching right now, Better Call Saul. It's a prequel to Breaking Bad. Right? When they're making that show, they pre-plan every little detail of that show before they shoot it, right? They have a script already for every single episode. They know exactly what's going on. They know how they're going to build up to the story. And then when the time comes where they're actually going to, get the cameras rolling, get the actors involved, it's all planned out. They just execute. And I want you to do the same thing with your content generation. Guys, I got more on today's topic, but before that, I got to give love to today's sponsor, Audible. Guys, you know how much I love books. I know you love books too, but sometimes we don't have the time to read them. Well, Audible.com has the perfect solution to get audiobooks and listen to those books that you've been meaning to read for a while, and you could do it on the go. You could do it at the gym, during a commute. Audible.com provides over 180 titles from leading audiobook publishers, broadcasters, entertainers, magazines, and newspaper publishers, and business information providers. The app is free, and it works on iPhones, iPads, Androids, Windows phones, you name it. You can also download it and listen to it on your Kindle Fire and over 500 MP3 players. And unlike streaming or rental services, Audible allows you to own the books, so you can access your books anytime, anywhere, right from your device. And get this, guys, Audible.com has a great listen guarantee. This is incredible. If you decide you don't like a book that you've chosen, no worries. You can exchange the book at any time if you're not happy. No questions asked. That means you only pay for good books. And just for listeners of the $100 MBA show, Audible.com is offering a free 30-day free trial membership while this offer lasts. So sign up now so you can get 30 days for free and grab all these awesome books. Just go to audible.com/100MBA today and get your free trial today. Again, that's audible.com/100MBA. To wrap up today's Q&A question about how do we plan or come up with the new lessons every single day? Well, it's all about planning. Planning. Separate the planning from the doing. Get your topics down well in advance. Batch them up so they're all there so you don't have to think about it when it's time for you to actually produce the content. Trust me, this is a lifesaver technique. If you implement this technique, I guarantee you're going to feel a whole lot better about content generation, about creating content. You're going to feel inspired. You're going to feel a lot more clear-headed and a lot more organized. And you won't feel the pressure every time you have to create a new piece of content. You already know what you're going to be doing and what you're going to be writing about or talking about or recording about. All you got to do is do. All right, guys, I hope you loved today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Guys, tomorrow's another Q&A weekend episode. We're going to cover a question that asks, would I ever consider selling our businesses? Interesting question. I give you my honest and open answer in Q&A weekends tomorrow. And then on Monday, we have a great guest teacher episode with Adam Franklin, my good buddy from Down Under. And he's going to be teaching you how your web marketing universe fits all together. All right, guys, before I go, I want to leave you with one little piece of advice. Sometimes we don't make time for planning because it's not exciting. But planning relieves stress. It allows us to do the fun stuff without the stress, like the creation, the whatever it is, creating a webinar, or creating a blog post, or creating a podcast episode. So make sure you plug it into your calendar. Make sure you make the time, whatever it is, once a week, once a month, whatever time you have to plan out your content. You'll thank me for it later. All right, guys, I'll check you in tomorrow's episode. I'll see you then. Take care.